welcome to the Writer Tribe Talk Show with your host, Elsa Kurt. Here's the place we talk about all things writing, publishing, and promoting your book. If you're looking for the perfect gift for the reader in your life, why not check out one of my books? They're all available on Amazon and most major online book retailers, as well as elsakurt.com. Record and go.
Great.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Writers Tribe Talk Show. I am your host, Elsa Kurt, and today I have Sophia Kelly Shultz, and we're going to be talking about her books and a whole bunch of other fun things. So welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's great to meet you.
It's great to meet you. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. I think I kind of got you short notice, right? We kind of did a quick back and forth. I was like, all right, how's this day? And you were so gracious and you were like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Is it gracious? I don't know. I think it could be eager or let's do this now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, and I don't know about you, but I think this speaks well to most, or I shouldn't say most, that's not fair. A lot of authors that we're a little bit more introverted by nature, which, people always confuse that with shyness, and we're not actually shy. It just takes a lot out of us to people, right?
Absolutely. My gosh, yes.
Yeah. And I know for me, and you tell me if this is for you too, I know if I don't say yes, like immediately, I will talk myself out of it and I won't do it. Are you braver than me, or are you?
Yeah. I'll just
Yeah.
forge ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I try not to give myself too much time to think about something and get overwhelmed by it. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll do that. I'll go on that show. I'll start that podcast. I'll do this book. I'll do all the things. And afterwards I start biting my nails, but
Yeah.
So I want to hear about you. I want to hear about your writing journey, because I know from reading your background, you come from an artist family. Both of your parents are artists. So tell me about that a little bit.
Well, I was apparently the one who was the heir apparent of the artistic part of the family. I have an older brother and two older sisters, and they're all very creative, but I was the artist. And so I didn't really go to school for it. I had one extremely good art teacher in high school who was awesome. And then the rest of it, I was kind of I wouldn't say on my own, because that has negative connotations. It was more like I struck out on my own. And but when I was in 6th grade, I inexplicably started writing. And my parents, artists, no writers in the family, they were like, we don't understand this. What's this? And so I kept writing all through high school and college, and actually I've been writing fairly steadily ever since, but a lot of fiction. And I have never had a piece of fiction published, which is really funny.
Very interesting.
Yeah, fiction is scary because they just really, but I am working on a novel that I plan to publish at this point.
That's exciting. So yeah. I know, because I'm a good little researcher, and I know that you have a love of science fiction. So can I ask, is your novel that you're working on, is that the genre, the lane that it's in, or are you going to surprise me and be somewhere completely different?
I'm going to surprise you, because it's something that would be referred to as weird fiction.
Okay.
If I was in Latin America, we might call it magical realism. Okay. And it takes place in the 80s, in essentially the background in Philadelphia when I was at school, at the museum at the University of Pennsylvania, except we don't name it because, well, and there's an archive with a curse, and it sounds really silly, but there's it's got a whole lot of interesting. Here's me like talking about my book but not talking about my book.
It's what we do. It's our thing. It's good.
This is how we edit.
Yeah.
Right. So the one of the premise of the story is that the extrasensory perception or intuitive skills are integrated as part of the culture. And so there's actually a standardized test that the kids do in school to measure that, so that, if, because there are things that you can do, an intuitive accountant in the 80s would make a killing. So
I bet. Yes.
so we're dealing with the characters having some skills, not others. A boss who is absolutely impossible, but for really good reasons later on. A mystery of who messed up the archive and why it's cursed, and the curse itself, which is miserable. And all the people that go around it. And there is a fair amount of Egyptian mythology that's woven in, so it's not obvious. You have to look at it. You have to think about it. Well, wait a minute. Oh, look at that. So, I've been working on that. Oh gosh, it was a fragment in 1985, 2 pages.
Wow.
And now it's 300. No, it's 108,000 words.
Fantastic. Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. Oh, so you're getting, are you feel like you're getting close to being at the end, or at least at the end of the writing portion of it?
No,
No.
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 There's a
No,
whole
not
bunch of stuff there. It's Deb will say the same thing. She writes test trenches, so we
okay.
don't write linearly. Mainly because I'll think of something and go, oh my God, I've got to put that in now, or I'll forget, and then continuity glitches galore. But so I know how it's going to begin. I now have the beginning. I have like this first 10 chapters to my satisfaction, and then it's moving along, but I know that there's still at least 200 pages left in it, that I haven't
Nice.
written yet. Yeah.
Very fun. Tell me, so I always have to ask this because I love hearing about other writers' writing style. Would you consider yourself a plotter or a pantser? Do you need to like have everything organized, or you just let it flow when you sit down to write?
It's a little bit of each.
Mhm.
My best friend is actually my chief of continuity and cohesion. And so I have timelines,
Okay.
not
Yep.
specifically outlines, but then there are times when I just sit down and go,
Yep.
and so there's a little bit of each.
Yeah,
And
I would imagine with a book of that magnitude and that depth,
mhm,
you would have to have like some sort of outline. I can't even imagine keeping all of that straight, all of so many details and factors to remember and to know. So yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that with something so in depth. I write, much light stuff. So and even that I have to go, wait a minute, little things like what color were her eyes again?
well,
So
I mean, yeah, I have this story, being as it is historical, it takes place in the 80s. A tremendous amount of research went into it, has gone into it, like a lot. When I say pages and pages and pages of notes, and some of it is Egyptology, and some of it is historical about the 80s. There's a fair amount about Chernobyl, things like that. And I got hooked on Chernobyl. I admit it. I am now a Chernobyl junkie.
yeah, you're talking about just in general, or are you talking about the actual movie or mini series that was made?
Not the miniseries.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I knew
Yeah.
they made one, and I actually put it like in my to be watched list, a little different than the to be read list, but same idea, of course. And I haven't gotten to it yet because I know it's like it's so heavy, it's so deep. So
That's they we watched part of the first episode, and there's I don't know how familiar you are with the explosion at the Bridge of Death, which is where all these people were supposed to have stood to watch the pretty colors burning, because apparently it was really a beautiful fire. And then they all died, but it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and no one was on that bridge. So it's an urban
Ah.
legend, and they kept the urban legend, and it pissed me off, so I didn't watch anymore.
Oh, I don't blame you. I agree with you. You need to keep, especially something if you're portraying history, you actually need to portray history and not for cinematography
Yeah.
effects, right?
Yes. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
that's
really,
unfortunate. I appreciate the insight on that though, because I did not realize that that was the case. That's good to know.
it's really interesting to read. I think in any historical reading is to find um, eyewitness accounts
Mm.
and material that was written at the time, because some of that is utterly chilling. You don't need a movie. You don't. Like the
No, no,
hairs
right.
stand up on my arms with some of it, when the guys in the fishing pond, they were fishing in the cooling pond, described a blue jet going up into the sky, and I got goosebumps because that is nuclear. It
Mhm.
was some kind of a thing. and
Wow.
and I just thought, whoa, so
Yeah. And you were able to incorporate a good part of that into the book that you're working on. That's pretty amazing. So we'll get some real good history out of
mhm.
this book too. So I have to admit, you already sold me as soon as you said it was set in the 80s. That was it. I'm an 80s girl to the core. So, you already have a guaranteed reader right here
Oh,
for that.
okay, all right.
Just so you know.
Yeah,
So no
yeah,
pressure to get
no
that
pressure.
finished or
Oh
anything.
my God, I'll just start typing now.
Yes,
um
please. Thank you. So tell me, so you have three books out
mhm,
now, published, nonfiction. They are not fiction books.
correct.
You have, so let me make sure I have it right. I am cheating. I am looking at my notes because I don't want to mess up. I know I'm that guy. Cheater. We have, and tell me if I got the order right. I think I do. We have the Stone Circle Oracle,
Mhm,
transformation through meditation, which I'm really excited to talk about. You have the Promethean Oracle, which is
mhm.
seeking the spirits. Oh, no, no, the next one, caught myself.
Wrong.
That's why I don't usually write things out. I have hideous handwriting. I usually have to type everything
Oh,
out.
okay.
We
Mhm.
just found out why. There it is. And your third, your most recent, is Seeking the Spirits of Palo Kimbiza,
Yes,
Afro-Cuban Religion. So they
yes.
all sound so fascinating, but I want to go in order if you're okay with that. If you're okay with
Yeah,
going in
yeah.
order. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the process and the reason for writing the Stone Circle Oracle.
Well, it was kind of an odd thing because my photographer is at a place called Goggle Works. It's one of those, they took an old factory building and turned it into studio space for artists, and then they have glass windows. So it's kind of like a zoo, and but my photographer was late one day. I had some art for him to shoot, and he so the person next to him was open, and she had an oracle deck, and I said, did you self-publish this? And she said no. And I showed her what I was having photographed, and she said, oh, you need to talk to my publisher. So basically I talked to the publisher. I put together a proposal, and like, to be to be quite honest, I pulled it out of my ass and sent it in with absolutely no thought that they would actually take it, and they did.
Wow. Wow,
So
that's incredible.
it's 50 cards, 45. And about half of those were already extant pieces of art, and then I had to do the rest. But so that while I was working on the ones that I hadn't done, I already was working on what they would be for. And the other ones kind of spoke for themselves right away.
Mhm.
So that was the process. And the book, one of the things I did was in the book I have journal space so that when you do readings with these cards, um, you can write down what you see, because I don't tell anybody what to see in the cards. I just give a story. And people describe this one as my kinder, gentler deck. And the Promethean Oracle is the one that will hit you over the head. So because
Yeah.
it's not fortune telling, it's more like, you need to think about this.
That's an important distinction to make, because I think as soon as people hear that there's cards involved, they automatically think that it's fortune telling, and that's not the case for
No.
either, right?
No. So and basically, I mean, I know people who get together like with their friends, and they'll like once a month and they'll pull a card and talk about it, stuff like that. So, and that was actually a really easy process. That one was dead easy to write. It just like whoosh, right out.
Wow.
And then, so, I mean, I have the cards if you would like to see one or two.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that works with. Okay.
I would love to. And I know anybody watching would love to. And the poor people listening, they're going to have to go over to YouTube and watch it now so they can see it too.
So the cards are gorgeous. I mean, I was so surprised when they came. And so this is the back. I'll hold it up. Is that good?
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Nice. Oh, that's beautiful.
So
wow.
And then you have they're extremely high quality.
Oh, yeah. Is that a Phoenix? It looks like Phoenix. Yes. Yeah. That's gorgeous. Wow.
So yeah, there's a whole lot of them.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so beautiful. I love the colors, everything. It's so vivid.
I've been told, people will say they really love my color work. And what was it? This one is Spider. Spider is interesting. And that's my daughter who had a dream about a spider building a web over her eye.
Oh, wow.
And I said, I got to draw this.
That is stunning.
The card is Spider weaves dreams into reality. So it's about how you're weaving your dreams into reality, pretty much on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
And she has managed it. She's 28 and has a novel published, and she's already made some ridiculous amount in well, this is me gushing, in royalties. And I was,
that's phenomenal.
So proud. Oh my God, I'm so proud. She got a novel first. Ding.
That's so cool. And that's such a good mama right there, bragging on her girl. I love that. Yeah. That is fantastic. Plug her book, go for it. What's the name of her book?
It's called The Eigengrau Effect.
Okay.
And it's available on Inkett's publication site, which I think is it Gaia?
Okay. Oh yeah, it might be. Yeah, that's, I mean, I know that now. I shouldn't say like as if I know, but I know the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's available on there as I think as an ebook. And so she describes it as the main character is a cop who is accidentally a vampire, who is also a sex addict. And he's got all the things going on. And I love the way she writes dialogue. We laugh. She learned to write dialogue from watching episodes of Law and Order. So,
That's awesome. Brilliant.
And she's very, very good at naming characters and giving them background that's just fascinating, actually.
That's really, really cool. So that answers the unasked question, but that would have been a question. Has the gene passed on? And I would say quite obviously, yes, it has. Yes. Very cool. Is she also an artist with other mediums? I mean, I hate to say that like a writer isn't an artist. You are an artist, right. Just a different kind of artist, right? Does she dabble in other mediums like mom and the grandparents?
Not really. She has very, very good color sense, but she doesn't do anything with it right now.
Okay.
But she'll tell you, I mean, she'll look at a wall and I'll say, what color should that wall be? And she'll tell me. And she doesn't need a color wheel. She's
good. I'll have her come over and tell me what I should do, please.
And then I'll sell you a whole bunch of art to go on your walls.
Nice. Well, speaking of your art, I did take a look over, you're over on DeviantArt. And now what's your, I have it, but you're going to be able to say it faster than I can find it in my notes. What's the name of your actual page, or your page?
Badger Soph.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Badger Soph
Badger Soph, yeah.
on, so it's like Badger Soph backslash deviantart.com. Is that right?
No, it's
Not even.
badgersoap.deviantart.com/gallery,
Thank
backslash
you.
gallery,
Thank you. I'm gonna put when we're done here, when we're getting ready for production, I'm gonna put all your links and everything up, and I'll
yeah,
double check with you, make sure I have them right, because that would be a bummer if I sent them where they're not supposed to go.
yeah, that would really stink. So yeah, the badger thing is very interesting because a lot of talk is bandied about spirit animals and totems and things like that. And everybody wants to be a wolf or an eagle or even a crow or raven or a bear. And so I really was kind of casting around. And this was a while ago, and I was working part-time at a Walden Books, and everybody said I was bossy and outspoken, and I was sad. And one day, back then, I was doing portraits of people, and I had files of pictures of animals because people would ask for their portrait with a wolf or something. And one day I'm going through this file looking for like a lion, and there's all these badgers. And I'm like, nobody asks for badgers. Why are
Oh,
these badgers here? So I went and looked up badger as a totem, and badger says things that nobody wants to hear.
I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
and that so yeah, it also teaches you to know when to shut up. But
That's awesome. So I have a
so
question about that. So does your like spirit animal pick you, or do you pick your spirit animal? How does that work? I always
oh,
wanted to know what mine was. I have no idea, obviously.
they pick you. They
Oh,
pick you. And you should look at Crane, the
okay.
bird. Yeah. Did you like that?
That was perfect. Well, funny enough, I actually have one on my wall in here just simply because I love it. So strange.
Well, but yes, yeah, the reason that nobody wants to be a badger. No,
Mm,
nobody. They want to be a wolf. They want to be something
sure.
glamorous. And so yeah, you don't get to choose really.
Interesting.
You get to be chosen. So it's the things that you're attracted to. So I
Interesting.
also have platypus and anteater, and they're all seekers. They're all diggers.
Oh, I like
So
that.
yeah. So
That's very cool. Yeah, I always expect that if I ever find out that it is going to be some type of bird. I definitely have an affinity with birds.
mhm.
So I feel like who knows? I guess I don't get to pick. So darn it.
Yeah, and I'm rarely wrong about this, just so you know.
I
Um,
love that.
so we were talking about how should I talk about my work? Should I be forward and not look like an introvert? But
Yeah,
it
no, I love it. I want to talk about any of the things that make you who you are and got you to where you are. That's really absolutely. I mean, I love talking about my authors. I treat you all like you're mine. You're mine. But I love hearing about your books, of course, and giving everybody the opportunity to promote their books and do all of that stuff. And that's hugely important, but I love hearing the journey and the all the behind the scenes stuff and how you
mhm.
got here, because I find it all so relatable for so many of us, and I
Mhm.
always feel like like me, other authors and aspiring authors are going to sit and watch these and go, oh my God, me too, and they're going to
Yes.
feel seen and understood, and I think that's hugely important, especially for our crowd who I mean, as you know, writing is a one person deal. It's just you and your laptop, or if you're writing, God bless you if you're handwriting, because I can't do it, but
I do. I
you
do.
do. And
Yes.
I bet do you have beautiful handwriting? You do, don't you?
Catholic school.
Oh, then it's perfect.
Yeah.
Flawless. Yes.
Yeah. My daughter says she can't read it because, this is our secret language, you know. So, but
Oh,
yeah, I write an awful lot out in longhand. And if I get hung up, I'll go back to the longhand and hash it out instead of, beating up my Macintosh.
mm-hmm.
you
I
know.
love it. That makes perfect sense. No, I get it. I wish I could do it like that, but I can't. It will look like a toddler scribbled on paper. It's bad. Um, no, so tell me, I swear to God, it's so bad. So tell me about seeking the spirits of Palo Kimbiza.
Oh,
I
this is
perked up at that because just simply because of the word Cuban, because I love to brag that I'm half Cuban. The sad part
really
is
okay.
I do not speak Spanish. I am mortified and embarrassed. It's a very short story. I am half Cuban and half German, and my respective grandparents all spoke their native languages growing up, and I never learned either.
Mhm.
So yeah, I could be
Well,
multilingual, and yet I'm not.
well, I'm really terrible at other people's spoken languages, and I'm really, that's where my introversion comes in, is like I feel like I'm gonna really screw it up. So um but and my godfather in Paulo doesn't really he doesn't really hold it against me. You know, we met, this is a great story that's going to sound really weird. um the Stone Circle and Stone Circle Oracle takes place at a place called Four Quarters Interfaith Sanctuary, about which I will say precious little. But the first year that I was just vending, I was selling prints and stuff. And we had this, it was 2006, and we'd had a tremendous storm that flooded everything. So getting out of town to go to this event was insane. I mean, everything was blocked. So finally got there, and, you know, got everything set up and everything was cool. And I felt like something was, and I was with a friend of mine and her husband, and I felt like something was wrong. Okay. I was having trouble sleeping and things like that. Well, come to find out that my friend was hanging out with somebody at the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair who practiced Santeria. And my favorite, I love the Latin American authors, and Jorge Amado talks about Candomblé, and many of the names of the deities are very similar. And I remember saying to her, you watch out for that shit. That shit is real.
Oh
Okay.
boy, wow, yeah.
So I come to find out when we got back that this woman thought that my friend had been dragged kicking and screaming by her husband out to this place. And so she had, well, they call it throwing.
Okay.
She had cast against, she said, their campsite. And I'm like, you know, I'm not really completely knowledgeable about this, but it's really takes some mad skills to you know, target something like that. You know, this is carpet bombing. I was so mad. So this woman put my friend in touch with her godfather in Palo, and so she came home just effusive. I mean, like, oh my God, it was so cool and everything. And that night I dreamt that I had to go see him, and then I had to take a copy of my latest self-portrait with me as a gift, because you're supposed to give him a gift. And so she set it up, and oh, look, it's right on top. Isn't that great? So here's the self-portrait.
Oh, look at, oh, that's fabulous. Wow, that's gorgeous.
So yeah, that was a few years ago. So basically we go in, and he's this enormous Cuban man, and we, there's this thing we used to call it Palo time, where you'd like sit down and start talking to him, and suddenly it's 1 a.m.
Mm.
So I am not an initiate, but I have special place in his heart, because I do all the paintings
Okay.
of the various, in Palo, it's not quite the same as some of the other Afro-Cuban religions, where the spirits are elemental, they're personified elements, whereas in Santeria they're deified personified elements. It's
Okay.
Santeria is much more. Okay, so this was the first one I did. And this is an interesting story about this one. I don't know if you can see that. There she is.
Yeah. Yep. I can see it.
So he actually has the first 10 that I did.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm a good goddaughter.
Yeah, you are.
So we but actually I'm told that the book is extremely readable and that it is engaging. It's not a how-to book. It's
Okay.
not a scientific discourse or an anthropologist's view. It is straight up kind of here we go. Straight up anecdotal. It's straight up
Gotcha. Okay.
anecdotal. Yes.
Nice.
And so one of the things now, I didn't want to go and do like, you should do this, you should not do this, blah, blah, blah. So there is an entity named Lucero, and Lucero is a trickster. And he's the guy that if you ask for it, you'll get it, and not really what you wanted. And so my godfather has this thing he calls Lucero TV, which is when everything goes completely sideways in your life, you're on Lucero TV. And so I did Lucero TV channels and TV listings. And I remember the graphics department called me and they said, so what do you think of this? And I said, well, I really like the book, except I really want the Lucero TV, the listings to look like TV Guide.
Mhm.
And they said, we can do that. And so we have TV Guide listings.
That's so cool.
And basically each of the stories or each of the shows covers an aspect of the things that you shouldn't do.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of really very funny stuff, and because they're dead serious religions, and there's a lot that people don't like, mainstream Americans are like, ugh.
Right.
But I'm telling you that most of the practitioners that I know are very, very good people, and straight up, they know more about what they're doing with their religion than most Americans do.
Mhm.
So,
I believe that. That does not surprise me.
yeah. So then that one is illustrated in black and white.
Okay.
I have actually gone from watercolors in the Stone Circle Oracle. The Promethean Oracle is colored pencil on black paper.
Mm.
And these are, the illustrations for this one are in pen and ink. And I found this fabulous thing called a dots pen. It makes the dots for you.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm looking for art. Oh, look, there's Lucero. Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at that. Wow. My gosh, you're so talented.
Oh,
Wow.
thank you.
Yeah, he's very captivating. Those eyes.
Yes, and that's kind of the way he is.
Mhm.
And he turns up in the oddest places, and some of sometimes he's black and white are his colors. And my daughter got this cat who's a tuxedo cat, and he can open the refrigerator and the freezer.
Oh, wow.
And my godfather said, is he black and white? And I said, yes. And he goes, he has this laugh.
Yeah.
Like, Lucero cat. Here's Lucero TV.
Oh, look at that. Okay. Oh, look at that. Yeah. That's awesome. That is
Yeah, we had a
fantastic.
very, very good time with that book. I don't have anything planned for that genre again for a while. That one was hard to write. The Promethean Oracle was the hardest.
Did do you feel like those books, and I know the first one kind of did, you were kind of you were called to it basically.
Yes.
Were all three like that? Were they just callings that like you just knew, you woke up one morning and knew that you were going to do this book and this was going to be happening? Or
Actually, one day Tata called me and he said, Soph, I have an idea for a book. And oh, okay. So here's my co-author. And that was, you know, we sat down, we went through it, and he thought, his friend George thought we could make it into fiction. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Mm.
I said, let me make a phone call. And I called my editor, and my editor was like, we want it now. Okay,
Nice.
okay, we'll do that. Yeah.
That's
So
fantastic.
there's a lot of good stuff. And then the Promethean Oracle is a very interesting publication. It was actually nominated for Oracle Deck of the Year it came out.
Wow. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
It was very exciting.
Yes.
And it focuses on men.
Hmm.
If you go into Google and do a search, I can't tell you how many goddess decks there are out there, but it's a lot. You know,
Yes,
people,
I've seen them. I know that firsthand. That's like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah, that's actually all I've seen that I can think of. Yeah.
Mhm. So I wanted balance. I love balance above all things. And it must be the Egyptologist in me, because by the way, that was my education at the University of Pennsylvania.
That's so
So
fascinating.
it's you know, it has served me in strange ways, because of course, you know, like you have to have money to go to graduate school, and my father is an artist. The department had exactly one scholarship, and I had friends who were smarter than I was.
Mm.
You know, better at writing.
Yeah,
You know, honestly, I didn't hold it against them.
sure.
Anyway, so, you know, when I say, you know, I love balance above all things, it's kind of Ma'at like. So we ended up with the Promethean Oracle. My co-author and I came up with a way to create, you know, as the Oracle decks work, is that you're in the moment when you do a reading. It's not, you know, the future or anything like that. So what we did was we took the chakras, and you lay cards next to the chakras, and then, you know, like once in a while you'll hit one and you go, oh, that's blocked. Um, and
Hmm.
it helps. I mean, you know, but this is the one that definitely is not the kinder, gentler deck,
Okay.
because it's very straightforward. So I don't know if you'll, yeah, you can see him. Nope.
Yeah, yeah, I know, just angle. Yeah, there you go. If you go up a little bit. Very cool. Wow. Yeah, that's fabulous. Beautiful.
So those were fun to do. My biggest problem, it's that nose is real, by the way. That's Ramses II. I
Wow.
said, you know, I know he had daughters, God help them if they had that nose. Um, and great care was taken when he was mummified
Mhm.
to preserve the nose.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
um,
it's quite a nose, definitely.
mhm. My biggest problem was that I went from Egypt, Mesopotamia, biblical characters, and uh, Greece. And the Mesopotamian guys all looked the same because they all have the big curly beards, and
Right.
the biblical guys all look the same because they look like old guys.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a little bit of a struggle trying to make them look a little different, right? To
Yes,
get them
yes,
to
it's
distinguish from
insane.
each other. Sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, at
that's
least the
a
Egyptian guys, you know, like the god Ta is green, you
mhm.
know, he's,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
Tell me
but
how long beginning to end, like say, well, for any one of them, how long is the process? Did it take from beginning to publication? How long did all that? Because you're doing all the artwork for it, you're doing the writing for it, and then of course you have editors involved and all of that stuff. How long was the actual process?
this one was probably about 2 years.
Hmm.
The might have been a year and a half for the Promethean Oracle. It probably was 2 years,
Okay.
because getting the art done and getting the chapters to work.
Mhm.
because there was a fair amount of back and forth with my co-author about, well, no, this isn't really how I want to say this. So, the Paulo Kimbiza book was probably about a year,
Okay.
you know, because I do, like I'll just have the art sitting, so I'll be chatting with somebody and drawing.
Sure. Oh yeah, I totally get that.
You know,
Absolutely.
So I'll be chatting with Deb, for example, my friend Deb Jarvis, and whose book I'm editing, and I'm also making a map, doing a map for her for the
Very
book.
cool.
And so
And by the way, for anybody listening or watching, whichever the case is, we're going to be having Deb on the show also. So you got to stay tuned for that one. And then at a later date, I got the two ladies to agree to come on together, and I suspect it's going to be a lot of fun. So just a
um,
little FYI, a little sneak info that you guys are going to see more of this fabulous lady and our my new to me friend. I'm already calling her a friend, whether she likes it or not. Deb Jarvis. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. But please go on. I'm sorry to interrupt you
yeah,
like that.
she's
That was rude.
fantastic. We it's the editing process is, for me, it's not, I'm actually, I have fear once we get to the archive horror, like, oh my God, she's going to read it, I'm going to die. Um, but so we've spent a fair amount of time working on this, and there have been moments when I've said, I'm not going to read any further until you fix this, because you've just made the main character so unlikable that everybody's going to throw your book on the floor. And
Funny.
so
That and but that's I think and I could be wrong. I think that you have a unique dynamic there, because I think it's normally very hard for people who are friends or relatives, whatever the case may be, to actually work together on something that is so personal and maybe like subjective.
mm,
So kudos to both of you for being able to navigate that, because that's challenging. I mean, you're telling somebody you have to, if you're being authentic and being true to the work, you have to tell her if if you think something isn't working, and risk some hurt feelings or bruised egos. So great job for both of you to navigate that, because it's tricky. You were all defensive of our work.
she will tell you stories about early editing before I got involved, and you will crack up. I'm going to save that for her,
Okay.
because her viewpoint is very different. I will say that the second book is shaping up really well, and and I do recommend her first book, which the Crystal Pawn.
Awesome.
um yeah, so
You are, I think I called you gracious in the very beginning. I don't even know if we were on air yet, but I'm going to say it again. You are so gracious. You are so generous with your uplifting your fellow authors and all that, and that makes you my kind of people. I just wanted to point that out. That I think that's very, very cool that you do that. That you're like I said. I think that's the word. That's the word of the moment right now. Very gracious. So that's awesome.
there'll be no living with me. Well,
I know. I
really
hear you.
don't. I feel very badly when I hear people say I could never do that.
Hmm.
I want to help people to say, I'm going to try this, and just I want them to know that it's possible, and
Absolutely.
to not do things and judge yourself based on what other people say, or you're not Rembrandt, but did you enjoy making that painting? Well, good, go paint some more.
Right.
That's the thing. It's not expecting everybody to love what you're doing. It's doing it because you love to do it. And
Absolutely. So,
that is
so true.
that is the thing. And the benefit for people like you and me is that we've gotten published, and we're hoping to do more. And then there's this whole thing I do called fiber art, and I'm actually wearing a piece of it. I was going to wear a different one, I couldn't find it. So,
You're such a
but
typical artist.
I really want to know where it is. I mean, I'm like, where's the geology jacket? Shit. you know, like,
That's so funny. That's okay.
so,
It'll turn up like tomorrow or 2 days from
well,
now,
it might even
right?
be dinner, you know, I don't know. But
Is
we have,
the piece you're talking about, is that what's around your neck?
no,
Or
it's
no?
this, it's the,
Oh,
like,
that.
the
Oh,
coat.
so cool. Oh my God. I've been admiring that this whole time. That is so beautiful. And you made that.
Yes.
Oh my
This
God.
is my first, and I didn't even know it was an art quilt until I was informed that it was an art quilt by art quilters. They declared that it was an art quilt. They declared me to be an art quilter, and I was like, how did this even happen?
That is
And
so cool.
the story behind it is actually fascinating. Uh, there's a calendar called We Moon. It's a women's calendar. And they put out a call for art, and the theme was uprising. You know, like what you're overcoming, how you overcome it, and what you're bringing with you into the future. Okay. I learned about this very late that year, but I had an idea because I had met a woman that summer who did crazy quilting. And I had no interest in it except that it was pretty.
Mhm.
But I thought, you know, I wanted to express that I don't get anywhere without the people around me. So, you know, I went through all these sketches, and normally I don't go through a lot of sketches, I just start. And finally, I thought, you know, instead of all the other ideas I've had, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a crazy quilted robe for this character, on this woman. And it's probably the last card in the deck because I'm, you know, there it is, almost, it's right before the, okay, so this is the painting. Can you see it?
There we go. Yep. Got it. Perfect. Wow.
Okay,
Yeah. Beautiful. Mm-hmm.
so there it is. Okay, there it is. It's very pretty. Got into the calendar, and my friends, my good friends, said to me, "That's a really nice painting. You're going to make the robe, aren't you?" And I said, "No, I don't quilt." And they said, "We dare you." And I said, "No." I was strong. I have too much to do. And then they double dog dared me.
Oh, well, there you go.
Now, you can see the finished product on DeviantArt.
Awesome.
It is 2.5 years worth of work.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
one of,
gosh. That is so amazing. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to give everybody the links and places to find you. Where can they find? I'm going to make you do the art again. Tell everybody where they can find your art, and then tell everybody where they can find your books.
okay, so you can find my art at badgersoph.deviantart.com. I think that's what they're doing now. We'll have to go look. You can check that.
I will.
And the two books are available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or from the publisher, Schiffer Publishing. They're, like, I have to say, first of all, Schiffer puts together beautiful, beautiful books, and the decks are outstanding. You know, their graphics department rocks the house. So you can actually order directly from them, but you can also order from, you know, the usual places: Amazon, ABE
Or
Books, eBay, you know, all the things.
fantastic. That is so, so cool. So I have to tell you, I could sit here for like another 4 hours and just chat about all of this stuff. So thank God I already got you to agree to come back on again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I am so excited. I'm excited for your upcoming work. I understand that it's probably going to be a while. So, but you're going to keep me up to date so I can keep our viewers and listeners up to date too on the progress of that. Because
Oh yeah.
you know, like I said, I'm an 80s girl, so you throw anything 80s at me and I am all over it, like white on rice.
So
Oh,
I have I can send you chapters.
oh, that would be so exciting. Yeah, that would be so cool. I would love that. And I am kind of going na 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 to everybody listening. I get some chapters. Now they're gonna hate me. I'm so petty.
Oh, oh, you're so petty.
Petty, petty, petty woman. What can I say?
Mhm. Terrible. It's
Oh, Sophia, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show for me. I appreciate it so much. I've enjoyed this infinitely. And like I said, I just want to hear more and more and more. So we definitely have to get you back on with Deb, back on by yourself,
That'd
whatever the
be
case
great.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Awesome.
I'm going to say one thing. I have had 2 pieces accepted into a fiber arts show at the Art Center East in Vernon, Connecticut. And the show opens in 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks. So if you want to see something up close and personal, stop by. They're really super nice people too. And it looks like the show is going to be a heck of a thing. So
Outstanding.
yeah, so just wanted to say that.
Yeah,
And
no, I'm glad you did. I'm glad we got that in there because that's coming up. So
mhm,
that's the very next thing coming up for you. So that's really, really exciting. Very, very cool. Uh,
mhm.
Thank you again so much. And like I said, we're going to get all the links up for everything so everybody can go check it out. I have already taken a sneak peek on everything on Amazon. They look as amazing as they sound, and I can't wait to find out for myself. So thank you again for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun and
Good.
can't wait to do it again.
Awesome. Sounds
All right.
fantastic. All right, guys. Thanks for listening and watching the show. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We'll see you next time. Have a